Chapter 7. Time to Run. That night, Trig had the strangest dream. One of the things that made it so unusual was his own awareness. Trig instantly knew he was in a dream, that he was not really standing on a riverbank. To his right, brown water moved by in a slow, lazy fashion. He could hear the rumble of rapids in the distance. Before he could take in his full surroundings, Trig started to walk alongside the riverbank, moving against the flow of water. While Trig was fully aware of the fact he was dreaming, he had no control over what happened in said dream. Slowly, Trig became aware of 2 points of interest. First, something was happening above him. Despite the sun being high in the air, a green ribbon of light was dancing across the sky. The daytime aurora looked very out of place. It made him shiver. Second, there were 2 people on the far side of the river, a girl and a boy. He watched the girl talk to her companion for a few moments, and then she hugged him. The girl seemed to be very excited. She jumped up and down, holding onto the boy the whole time. Her bushy red hair bobbed up and down with each joyful jump. Wait. Trig gasped when he finally realized what he was looking at. The girl on the far side of the river was Tenna. But he still did not know the identity of her companion, a boy with dirty blonde hair and brown skin. Trig narrowed his eyes, trying to get a better look at the boy. Tenna looked away from her companion and gazed across the river. She spotted Trig. At that exact moment, the boy next to her vanished completely, simply popping out of existence. Tenna did not acknowledge the sudden disappearance. Instead, she waved at Trig and yelled, "There you are! Why'd you go over there?" Trig waved back, but before he could think about trying to reach her, Tenna shouted across the river again, "It was great to see you. I'm gonna wake up now, so I'll see you later." Before Trig could react, the dream ended, and he woke up. The next morning, Trig woke late and groggily dressed for a day of farm work, a battered set of overalls and steel-toed boots. By the time he was fully dressed, Trig could only remember half of that night's dream. When he emerged from the bathroom feeling refreshed, the dream was gone from his mind entirely. He did not remember Tenna was in the house until he heard her voice coming from the kitchen. "When are the police coming?" Tenna was asking. "Not much longer now," Pentua replied. "In fact, they're running a little late." Trig stepped into the kitchen and grabbed a handful of green vegetables. Pentua admonished him at once, reminding Trig to wash his hands and use tongs like a civilized person. Even Tenna was not impressed, commenting on how gross it was to grab food with bare, unwashed hands. "I don't get sick," Trig said. "I've got nothing to worry about." "You think you don't get sick," Pentua reminded him. "Wash up and stop acting like a lech. Do that with your Aethera when you get one." She swatted Trig's face with a washcloth, having noticed that he was not taking his gaze away from Tenna's outfit, a loose-fitting t-shirt and flower-patterned skirt, no doubt borrowed from Pentua. Tenna blushed and tried to hide her face with her hands. Everyone was distracted by a series of loud knocks on the front door. "That should be the police," Pentua remarked. "About time. Trig, get the door and let them in." Trig bounded across the house and opened the front door with a flourish. He was expecting to see one of the police officers from yesterday. Instead, he was faced with 3 TS men. The TS are the second largest Sutherian ethnic group. They are yellow-skinned people who spoke a complex language with 10 vowels in its alphabet. The TS and Birkin languages are structurally similar, to such a point that a Birkin like Trig can easily understand what a TS is saying. One of the men leered at Trig. "Excuse me, Berkey," he said. "We're looking for a missing girl. Valdemar, long, curly, red hair, about your age. Answers to the name Tenna." Trig's heart missed a beat. Behind him, He could hear a shuffling sound. Pentua's hand clasped around his shoulder. "Come back inside for a moment," Pentua said. One of the TS men tried to put his foot in the door, but Pentua slammed it shut, causing him to cry out. She lodged her cane in the door latch, jamming it closed. Tenna screamed. "It's them! Those are the guys who tried to take me on Lightwater!" "You've got to be kidding me," Pentua said. "Trig, take her and go out the back." "But what about you?" Trig asked. "I want to fight these guys." Pentua gave Trig a smirk. "If you get hurt, who's going to take care of your new friend?" she said. Tenna's face lit up. "You're going to be my friend?" Tenna gasped, just loud enough for Trig to hear. "I've always wanted a friend." The trio of men put their shoulders to the door and started trying to force it open. Pentua raised her voice. "Hey, computer!" A musical chime sounded from the kitchen. A wall-mounted digital display illuminated. "Call the police!" Pentua ordered. "I am sorry," replied a male, computerized voice. "I cannot connect to the antenna. Please troubleshoot your hardware connections and try again." Pentua swore. She locked the door, then double-checked to make sure her cane was still jamming the door latch. Then Pentua turned to face the children. She looked desperate. Go! Find that Ponico man! Now!" The children ran to the back of Pentua's house and into her farm field. Here a number of crops grew, just enough to sustain the two occupants. Thinking quickly, Trig remembered that Tenna was disguised as a boy the last time she fled from her kidnappers. This time around, she was wearing a skirt. Dead giveaway. However, he knew the kidnappers had seen Tenna while trying to force the door. Trig ran to the straw man, tore it down, took its brown leather jacket, and tossed it over Tenna's shoulders. She bundled her out-of-control curly red hair and stuffed it inside the back of her shirt. Any change in her appearance would buy them time. Finally, Tenna donned a pair of Pentua's work boots. They were too big, but it was better than fleeing barefoot. "Let's go," Trig said. "What about Pentua? Is she going to be okay?" Trig gave Tenna a weak smile. "Pentua's tough as nails. She and her husband were part of that huge protest 10 years ago. They killed Ellie, but they couldn't kill her. I really don't think your kidnappers are ready for Pentua. She'll be fine." Using Eddleton's low gravity to their advantage, the children fled the scene at a bounding run, quickly vanishing into the surrounding farmland.